prominent evolute mind. I will try to explain on this topic in detail. So the title of this particular episode 4 is Prominent Evolute Mind, which means brain or manas. Among the evolutes of Sattvic Ahankar, manas, which means mind or brain, is the most prominent evolute among all the evolutes we have heard about so far. Mind is also known as the thinking principle. Mind is responsible for the initial processing of sensory information and the generation of thoughts. Mind under the senses of goodness means Sattvic Tattva controls tolerance, discrimination, and also represents truthfulness. Under the senses of passion means Rajas Tattva, mind activates and enhances the material desires, false pride, and dissatisfaction, etc., even in the most comfortable or favorable conditions. Under the influence of ignorance, which means Tamasic Tattva, mind allows the growth of intolerant anger, constant hatred, chronic fatigue, and laziness. In a nutshell, we can say that combination of all three modes of evolutes exist in the human mentality. This combination of three attributes stimulates the human towards desire, greed, lust-based actions, and a dedicated aim to achieve a desired result. Because this is how human gets excited to do actions and look forward for desired results. This was well explained by Sri Krishna in chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita under shlok or verse 37 in response to Arjuna's question under shlok 36. Now let us try to read that shlok and understand what was the question from Arjuna and what was the response from Sri Krishna. Adhakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichinnapi varshneya baladivanyojita. Arjuna asks Sri Krishna a question, that what is that force which compels a human to commit sin, even if he or she doesn't want to commit any sin or doesn't intend to commit any sin? Because when you don't want to commit any sin, but you are still compelled to commit a sin through an action based on your desire. So this is where the role of evolute or interaction of evolute of universe comes into force. Let us now read the shlok 37 from chapter 3 as an explanation by Sri Krishna. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahasano mahapapma vedyenamiha vairinam. Sri Krishna says that the desire and anger are the causes which force a human to commit sins. Stronger the desire, more intense is the anger. True, if you fail to achieve a strong desire, in line with your expectations, you will be facing a situation in which you will find very difficult for yourself to control your anger, because you are forced into that situation. We should understand that our result-oriented routine activities in life fuel our desires, which lead us to greed. Unfulfilled greed pushes us into anger. Intolerant anger leads us to madness in mind. See the activities or the sequence of events, what is happening. So Sri Krishna says, yes, desires and anger will force the human to continue committing sins. We all know that greed never dies. Achievements from greedy actions become the cause for ego, which further fuels the greed and selfishness. So, strong desires under the influence of Rajas and Tamas attributes become more and more dangerous. This way, desires influence the mind and can cause behavioral havoc in human life pattern, and that becomes the cause for result. We can now easily realize that everything in this universe is connected to the mind. Mind is also impacted by the inherent attributes of the nature, that is Prakriti. We can also recognize that mind alone can cause distress or happiness. Mind alone can make the spiritual soul, that is Jivatma, wander in the materialistic life cycle or take it towards liberation. So mind is capable of doing everything with the human psychology. If you cannot fix your mind, any devotion towards religiosity or self-control is of no use. Mind surely bends towards materialistic gains, physical pleasures and violent hatred, etc. Mind is stronger than the strongest, and its godlike power is fearsome if it wanders in the materialistic desires. Therefore, anyone who can bring the mind under control becomes the master of all the senses. Let us try to understand this more clearly from Shlok 34 and 35 of Bhagavad Gita under chapter 6. Now let us read Shlok 34 of Bhagavad Gita chapter 6. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramadi balavadrudam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoruvasu dushkaram. Arjuna asks, hey Krishna, mind is characterized as restless, turbulent in nature, very stubborn and powerful too. Therefore, an effort to control mind may be like a futile effort to control strong winds. This means controlling mind to dispel the desires is not an easy task. It is very difficult, which can be achievable only by practice. अभ्यास द्वारा ही आप उसको प्राप्त कर सकती हैं. Let's now read Shlok 35 from chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Asamsayam mahabahu manodurnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. Sri Krishna responds to Arjuna by saying, Hey Arjun, yes, it is true that mind is restless. Undoubtedly, it is restless and difficult to control. But it is still possible by practice and detachment towards result-oriented deeds. So, what Krishna says here is that mind can still be controlled through rigorous or severe practice, which is of course not an easy task, and in real life an uphill battle. Practice means abhyas. अभ्यास द्वारा आप अपने मन को वश में कर सकते हैं. कठोर अभ्यास द्वारा यह संभव है. We all have to understand that it is possible, but an uphill battle. It's not an easy task. Unless we follow a rigorous practice, it is very difficult to control mind and stop the mind going towards result-oriented deeds. Hari Om.